I really thought this thing was a biology hall of fame. And I got up here and I found this basketball. I can give you a few phylum peripheral ideas about platyhelminths, blue different. That's an animal. I'm not going to go on because I just found out that it is a basketball. And I wanted to do this before I go any further. That I played there in Virginia, and at that particular time we didn't have a great athletic director like we have now. And a lot of times they'd send you out to play somebody too much. For instance, I'll never forget this as long as I live. You can imagine this. We went to Cincinnati. They were #1 in the nation. They were getting ready to win the second national championship. And we went there to play them. And I'll never forget riding down the streets with sirens, etc., trying to get our team in to the facility. At that particular time, it was absolutely filled before 6:30. And I'll be honest with you, I was more scared then than I am right now. And Mrs. there, be sure to tell me when 8 minutes are up, because I have been threatened. But anyway, let me keep going. Cincinnati was phenomenally good. We went out, played the best we could. I think we got beat 35. Of course, that's a disgrace. I remember coming back thinking, gosh, it was awful. But it even got worse because here's what happened. For some reason, I had 2 relatives there that I didn't even know. And they sent a Cincinnati paper back to my family where I was trying to guard a guy named Ron Bond, who was up in the air and his knee was in my face. And that's a very embarrassing thing. And that has gone so deeply that I could tell you the whole line. Had a kid named Larry Shingleton, Tony Yates, Tom Thacker out of Kentucky, Ron Bonham, and a guy named George Wilson. And I saw George Wilson not too big and too bad, but he'd even gotten bigger. At the last time I saw him at Gail Catlett's retirement party. But anyway, I'm saying this because many times you go through some tough times, which leads me to the next topic. About 2 years ago, I ran the crossroads for the loop, and I came back to the dressing room, and I had a razor, and I ran it over my neck. See, I'm in biology, so I understand exactly what goes on in your body. So I ran that thing down, and I looked at it, and I thought, you know, that gland is swollen. I might have lymphoma. I'm saying this because this thing probably can happen to a lot of people. So I went over to the clinic, and the guy rubbed his hand up. He said, go to the hospital. You've got some problems. So I did that, and really hurt the whole last season that I was engaged in. And so I took about 6 months chemo treatment. And I'm saying this because probably somebody in here has that situation now. But I want to tell you that I feel pretty satisfied today. I have energy today, but what I want to point out is the fact that I had tough times, and most everybody has a tough time. And right after that, I happened to pick up a little magazine called Daily Bread. Some of you know what I'm talking about there. And I read this, and this helped me a lot. And I'm reading it because probably somebody in here now is in the same shape. I want you to listen to this. A piece of wood once bitterly complained because its owner kept whittling away at it. gouging it, making holes in it. But the one who was cutting paid no attention to this stick's protest. He was making a flute out of that piece of ebony, and he was too wise to stop when the wood complained bitterly. The man said, "Look, little piece of wood, without these rifts and cuts, and holes I'm doing to you, you'd be just a stick forever, and nothing else. You would actually be a useless piece of ebony. What I'm doing now may seem as if I'm destroying you, but instead it will change you into a flute. Your sweet music will charm the souls of many and comfort sorrowing hearts. By cutting you, it's the making of you, for only thus can you be a blessing in the world." Now let me read you this. This is right out of Hebrews. "No chastening seems to be joyful for the present, but painful. Nevertheless, afterward it yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness." I bring that forward today because I really, even though I coach basketball and taught biology, it's really about people you deal with. You see, everybody has some problems. And people try to get those problems, and if you have tough strength, you can get through those things. Next thing is this. I want to also promote the academy because basketball is basketball. Getting a good education is much more important. And I actually love to teach biology. You can fool with them, whatever, tease them. Usually I always made sure that I had like 3 basketball players in, bigger players. Anyway, class day at Fort Union goes something like this. This is very unusual. First of all, before a guy leaves the room, he's got to clean the room. Second, when he comes into class, you can get them all down, quiet, read a little scripture to them, explain what that means. Next thing Fort Union has is a 1-subject plan where you're in there the whole time for 7 weeks. Another thing is this. At night, they have about an hour and a half of CQ or study. And then here's the other thing. I've said this many times, and I don't know any high school or any prep school or anything else that has been able to do this. I have seen a Division I player in every sport before it did, which tells you something about the coaching situation. But I think, well, that thing keeps sliding up and down. I think I had the best coaching job in the United States of America. And I'm going to tell you why. First of all, you've got DC up there, you've got Richmond on one side of the state, Roanoke on another, the Tidewater area here. You never had to fool with parents coming because it's too far. Now, what I'm telling you is true. I never had any parents ever come in except one after a game had a little too much bourbon in it. And that's the only one I've ever had to deal with. And I remember him coming down, breathing on me. And this is for you all. If you're a young coach, here's what you do. You always wait till they come and then you lean against the wall like you're listening and you don't pay any attention to him at all. And then you say, "Sir, your breath is killing me." And then you say, "What we need to do is go in the locker room and we'll bring your son in." And the son, he doesn't mind coming because he doesn't want to leave. So I said, "Now, I want you to tell your son that you want him to leave." And the boy always looked and said, "What are you talking about, Dad? I want to stay here." So I said, "Sir, last time I did, I've done this before. Last time I did this," the boy said, "Dad, listen, I want to stay in Fort Union where I can better my game and the learning situation." So anyway, I've always said in basketball, you got no parents, no press, there's no posse running around checking somebody's scoring average, no perfume, and no privileges. I only had a couple guys want privilege. Some of you know Chris Washburn. He's an old player, played in the NBA. I think Tom Kachowski, are you here? Where's Tom Kachowski? Did he make first team All-American for freshman, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior in high school? First team All-American. Didn't you tell me he's the only one that's ever done it?
I don't know if it wasn't the only one, it was a few.
Yeah, okay. Are you saying I was the other one? Okay. So anyway, I only got scared one time about my job. It had nothing to do with me or anything like that. We had a new general in. You know, generals, they think they know everything. This guy was a 3-star general. And I didn't know whether he was going to like basketball or not. I had no idea. But we had coaching nights, and you had all kinds. We've had sometimes up to 40 coaches in coaching nights. But anyway, Lefty came in, Lefty Drizel. And I've always liked him. He's liked the program at Fort Union. I said, "Lefty, you've got to do me a real favor here today." I said, "We've got a new general. I don't know if he knows anything about basketball, but you've got to work on it because we want to keep the program here." He said, "Don't worry, I'll take care of it." So I looked down during the scrimmage, and there he was, sitting by the general. It went on, and finally we left. He was the last one out. I said, "Lefty, how'd it go?" He took his left hand and said, "You have no words." And I was mighty thankful for that. So I want to end this by saying this. And I appreciate the time you've given me. I do this many times. Keep on asking, and you will be given what you ask for. Keep on looking, and you will find. Keep on knocking, and the door will be open. For everyone who asks receives, everyone who seeks finds, and the door is open to everyone who knocks. I totally believe that with all my heart. And I appreciate coming to see you today. God bless you and the United States of America. Thank you.